I was thinking like, oh, maybe I don't need to do a disclaimer for this one, because is religion that controversial? Which is a wild thing for me to say. It's like what 45% of wars were fought over. That would be like me saying, oh yeah, I was thinking about doing a video on land disputes, but are land disputes really that controversial? Yeah, so before this video starts, I'd like to say, this video, not an attack on religiousness or Christianity in the slightest. In fact, I was raised Catholic Christian for 15 years. I'm not quite that anymore, but I'm also not an annoying atheist like, oh, religion is illogical, use this abacus to prove that God exists, show me that prayer works on a TI-84 calculator. There's nothing wrong with believing in a God. I believe in a God. Which one? Wouldn't you like to know? You have 20 questions to figure it out, and it is bigger than a bread box. My point being is that I think it's okay to believe whatever you'd like, so long as you don't hurt others and you're not pushing stuff onto others against their will. Without further ado, let's get into this shit. Heed the trigger warnings. Let's live, laugh, and love. And then I should probably put like another title card, because I feel like the pacing will be weak. Hello, U.S. prisoners of war being subjected to this program is a form of torture. I'm Rob Deerdeck, welcome back to MTV's Ridiculousness. I'd like us all to take a joyride in the DeLorean back to January of 2018. A simpler time. Back then you could get an iPhone for a nickel at the soda fountain. Imagine, if you will, a young Ro Ramdin, shaggy mane rippling in the wind, an insufferable theater kid smack dab in the middle of her unfortunate Brockhampton phase. Listen, it was a different time. People thought listening to them was cool. It was like cocaine in the 80s or Seinfeld in the 90s. Well, those aren't exactly the same. I've never heard of cocaine dating a high schooler. So what I'm saying is that people listened to Brockhampton like it wasn't a sign of the mark of the false prophet. If you wear Brockhampton merch to any party now, you have put a target on your back. The wittiest Twitter user will immediately cite you with their Terminator vision and start quipping at you, and not even God's strongest soldier could handle that. And you're not God's strongest soldier. You're a Brockhampton fan. You would die of a peanut allergy on the front lines, and then they'd use your body to dig the trenches. They just shovel dirt into your mouth. Admitting you were a Brockhampton fan in a group chat is akin to putting a felony on your job application. That Crimson American boy band crew neck I spent $35 at back in 2018, that's my scarlet letter. I digress. What was I talking about? January of 2018, the cool air pushing past my face as I briskly walked into my high school, ready to be the most disliked underclassman in my pre-calc class. I'm beelining to the school on my usual route, and I see something a little bit out of the ordinary. A person standing in a trench coat, handing something out in front of the staircase I usually walk down to get into school. Now, if you see somebody wearing a trench coat in front of your school, your mind flips through a lot of possibilities. Do I want to buy a counterfeit watch? Am I going to die? Is this a private investigator who's going to ask me about the death of my wife? Is his penis out? If his penis is out, is it a regular penis, or is it like a haunting, ghastly penis? Is this really a normal person, or two 13-year-olds stacked on top of each other? Or unintuitively, like 15 to 16 babies stacked on top of each other like Goombas, and then one of them has a normal person face? So I hung out across the street from this guy for like 15 seconds, you know, waiting to see if he was gonna cast a spell or grow robotic arms and try to dismember Spider-Man. And I noticed that he's got this stack of pamphlets, the small paper pamphlets that he's handing out to kids. An upperclassman I know walks by me, and so naturally I'm like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, hey, you don't know? This is the best day of the year, like it's a fucking Disney XD show or something. And they just kind of walk right past me. I know what you're thinking. That wasn't an answer to your question. Yeah, it really wasn't. I don't know who this person is. That pamphlet could have anthrax on it. Oh no, of all the days to forget my anthrax neutralization kit. But I trust this kid, so I'm like, okay, I walk across the street, and the guy in the trench coat extends his hand with a pamphlet in it about this size. So I take it, and he says something like, have a godly day, which is a lot of pressure. I haven't had a godly day since my first communion, sir. At this point, I'm starting to walk down the stairs into my school building, but I keep glancing back at him to make eye contact because I figure if he's gonna do some evil shit, he'll do the anime smirk and then start laughing, and I'll be like, what did you do to this? But I snap out of it because a lot of other kids have already gotten this pamphlet, and they're not dead, and Murphy's Law is not legislated in Washington, so I'm probably fine. I finally break eye contact with this holy ghost in a man, and I look down into my hands to see what might be one of the most fucking deranged things I've ever seen in my entire life. I have been a victim of the worst meet cute of all time. I have been acquainted with none other than... Hi, I'm Ro, welcome back to my channel. If you subscribe right now, the 1/3 of a cent we get from your view will be used to send reverse missionaries back to Spain so we can figure out the answer to the Spanish Inquisition. How are you all doing today? I am feeling quite blessed and inhabited by godly goodness. The Holy Spirit is wearing me like a FNAF animatronic. Today we will be talking about Chick Tracts. Let me sweep you back to April 1924, spring in Los Angeles. Thomas Chick and Pauline Freeze have just given birth to their bundle of joy. Well, Pauline gave birth. I don't think Jack was tapping X to push behind the hospital curtain like a QuickTime event. But yes, on April 13th, 1924, Jack T. Chick was brought into this world. Weighing only statistically average 1924 baby weight, with the piercing Mediterranean blue eyes of a Byronic Icelandic horse, he would go on to become a pestiferous theater kid, receiving an acting scholarship that was ultimately cut short by his service in World War II. Hey, at least he got to act for a 3-year run in the Pacific Theater. It was a war. People died. Upon returning to America from playing Call of Duty World War II in real life, he found himself a strapping dame. Not in that way. We're not doing pegging jokes this time, guys. Calm down. Grow up. What does this look like to you? Up until this point, Chick did not consider himself religious, unless you count the cult of Theseus a religion. That's a joke for inducted thespians. Remember, if somebody kills us, it's our fault. Now, there's little information about this guy past this point because for the last 40 years of his life, he didn't really do any interviews. That, in my opinion, is unfair. He didn't deserve his esteemed artist recluse period. He didn't write anything good like Catcher in the Rye or Girl Boss. Anyways, during this period, sometime between his return from service and his eventual entry into cartoon artistry, I could find very little. During this time, though, his religious first wife exposed him to a show called the Old-Fashioned Revival Hour, which Jack credits for his conversion. Let me just say, there has to have fucking been something fierce in the radio waves during that period. Because now, if I was listening to something so persuasive that I was on the verge of conversion during a radio show, it would be interrupted by a sonically burdening electric guitar that jauntily transitions into a commercial for a local Toyota dealership, letting me know using its dying whimper that this year's Toyotathon will be offering a free appendectomy with every single Toyota sold. Anywho, Jack got converted faster than a copyrighted song that I want to use in the background of my videos and started illustrating and writing cartoons. Just like any good city boy should. If you want to contextualize him at this point, he is the Venom to Stan Lee's Spider-Man. He's Shadow Stan. I'm kind of worried about backlash for this video, but I don't know if there's an active fan base for deceased evangelist cartoonist Jack Chick. I don't even know if the deranged evangelicals who support Jack will be able to comment on this video using the stone tablets that they use to beam scripture to Facebook. So Jack Chick illustrated a newspaper cartoon and did aerospace illustrations to make ends meet for his family until the late 1960s and early 1970s, which marked the beginning of Chick Tracts. A Chick Tract is a small, cartoonish, illustrated pamphlet about this size, and they are the ravings of a lunatic. That much is true. This is a pocket-sized hate crime. A Swiss Army slur, if you will. Ironically, they take the format of Tijuana Bibles, which were small pornographic comics in the mid-20th century. I believe unintentionally, Jack took this medium and turned it into a tool for proselytizing, which is pretty funny. You know, upon learning all this Jack Chick lore, I was kind of surprised that he had 2 human parents because I kind of assumed that he was the offspring of a waterlogged St. James Bible from the nightstand of a Motel 6 and a stick of incense that smelled like mud. Well, now, before you get worried about me making fun of Jack Chick because he's 92 and actually no he's not, he died 5 years ago. Let's get into the problems with him because he was an evangelical fundamentalist Christian who was really bigoted. He was called the Dr. Seuss of Hate-Lit, which is weird because I thought Dr. Seuss was the Dr. Seuss of Hate-Lit. Have you seen that racist Dr. Seuss arc? It makes you reanalyze all of his works like they're covert hate speech. Is the cat in the hat a veiled symbol for the threat of immigrants who play in the MLB that will hit your kids with baseball bats? Maybe. Anywho, Jack's cartoon illustration skills were taken to his Chick Tracts, pamphlets that tell small stories of sinners being swept away to salvation or cast into the pits of hell for shoplifting a condom. Jack passed away in 2017, and my working theory is that the cosmic echoes of Lil Nas X's Montero were so strong that they transcended time to kill him 4 years early. Just to have fun, here's a list of sins that I think Jack Chick would say result in eternal damnation. Accidentally seeing a YouTube thumbnail for a video from a scene from Brokeback Mountain. Subscribing to my channel. Wearing a shirt with a floral pattern. Taking the God-given bones out of your chicken tenders. Getting a flu shot on Good Friday. White people tongue-kissing their dog, fine. White people normal kissing their dog, hell. Eating a Marie Callender's chicken and broccoli fettuccine on Christmas Day. Listening to drum and bass music. Speeding in a school zone. Playing a piano that is not made of elephant bones. Killing your ex-husband. Not killing your ex-wife. Owning a car that is not a Chrysler Sebring convertible. Googling boobs. Passively thinking about philosophy. Giving a dog a gun. Chick was homophobic, Islamophobic, and many other things. And all of these things he brought with him into his advocacy for fundamentalist Christian evangelical Protestantism. Evangelical Protestantism. Heard of it? It's something all the cool kids are doing nowadays. They go to the dumpster behind the Arby's off of I-90 and freebase Leviticus. It's kind of like the new blowjob. I'm just kidding. The new blowjob is called clam shucking, and it's going to a Shell gas station and putting a piece of circular sponge into the car wash vacuum, and then You know what? I actually don't need to say everything that comes into my head. That's super foul. Evangelical Protestantism is a sect of fundamental Christianity that just floors it. This is balls to the wall Christianity. This is a maxed out Christian character build. The beliefs of evangelicals are commonly defined using British historian David Bebbington's quadrilateral, which gives these 4 essential pieces of evangelists. Here are the 4 traits as stated by NAE.org. Conversionism, the belief that lives need to be transformed through a born-again experience and a lifelong process of following Jesus. Activism, the expression and demonstration of the gospel in missionary and social reform efforts. Biblicism, a high regard for and obedience to the Bible as an ultimate authority. And crucicentrism, a stress on the sacrifice of Jesus Christ on the cross as making possible the redemption of humanity. Other common traits of contemporary American evangelists include generally not being progressive. Only 28% of evangelicals even consider themselves Democrats, the others being no affiliation or Republicans. A lot of evangelicals are also pro-lifers, and a lot of them emphasize, the historicism of the Bible. Trump would earn the bulk of white evangelical support. Fully 8 in 10 self-identified white, born-again evangelical Christians say they voted for Trump, while just 16% voted for Clinton. However, of course, needless to say, not all evangelicals are raging conservatives or bigots. My point is not to paint every evangelical with this brush, just a statistically significant portion of evangelicals with this brush. It's more of a paint roller, honestly, like a paint bucket tool in Photoshop. Okay, enough of this stupid information, right? We want to see some fucking deranged pamphlets. Actually, before we get into it, I think I need to push my chances with getting into heaven. Should I do this? Well, I feel like predestination. If I was going to do this, I have to do it, right? Should I do a roast session of a 92-year-old man who died 5 years ago? My mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me yes. This man looks like... it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. What if he haunts me? What if I wake up with chick tracts on my nightstand? Just because I'm critical does not mean I'm not superstitious. What if every time I walk by a church for the rest of my life, I feel a cold breeze and then my knees buckle? I'll give myself one tame jape and pray that I don't wake up to an apparition of chick throttling me like a chicken. Newsies understudy. The man that everyone sees in their dreams as an American Eagle model. A sailor on the USS Homophobia. You know what? I'm already going to hell. What am I going to go to extra hell? They don't stack. They're not a combo multiplier. What would Dante say about that? Both the Inferno and the video game. I'm not sure. Also, Jack said during his lifetime that he measured his success by the amount of hate mail he got. So, Jack, let this not be an insult to your legacy, but a testament to your success. Haunted dentures mold crawled into a dead body. Dad at a middle school production of Aladdin that can't stop asking what kind of brown the genie is. Owner of an antique store whose paintings are inhabited by Confederate ghosts. If he was the man from Up, he would have shot the dog. Inversely, he's the evil man in the plane from Up. He's the type of guy who would have let out a chuckle when the Hindenburg crashed. The old man at church who made it his chief intention to break the hand of every 12-year-old in the pews when he shook their hand. Jimmy Buffett's Eucharist in Paradise. The unnerving pastor of Margaritaville. The man who gets furious about losing a game of shuffleboard on a cruise and slaps the mimosa out of his wife's hand. Jack Skellington in a skin suit. Okay, I'm tapping out because I can feel God breathing down my neck. Let's get into some chick tracts. First chick tract we are going to check out today is This Is Your Life, the best-selling chick tract. Over 150 million copies sold. This is their Titanic. Also, I will be accessing all of these chick tracts through their website, chick.com, which, according to an article I was reading, beat porn names to this domain name. On this site, you can also buy a book about how whenever the US did shit in Israel, there was a natural disaster. Can I get a free Palestine champ in chat to wash that shit out of my brain? Even though I think chick tracts are so fucked up, the fact that they got to the domain name before porn sites kind of makes me deliriously happy. I think that's so funny. All right, first panel. We are knee-deep in the sin. Smoking a pipe like a snowman from a 50s cartoon. Watching a visual radio. Driving the Batmobile. Second panel. Father Time teleports behind him, and then he Tom and Jerry ascends. 9 people at your funeral, including the priest. Loser. You should have at least gotten a coalition of your Twitter mutuals there. Come on. Okay, here's where it gets good. His cool, damp, naked body is beamed up to heaven. Here's a message to all the D-pop lowballers. You don't get your fits in heaven. You don't even get a penis. I'm loving this panel with the linebacker angel holding him like a football, just manifesting destiny while holding a man who looks like a rotisserie chicken. You know what? This guy looks like a jukebox musical Brendan Urie. Satanic Panic at the Disco here, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about the death of a bachelor. I work really hard on these videos, so if you could just go and press the subscribe button. Okay, on to the good part where the guy gets to watch back his entire life on the big screen. If God makes me rewatch my videos in the afterlife on a theater screen, he better acknowledge that they fucking bang. All right, here's one of the most deranged panels I've ever seen. Nice. First of all, are you doing a fucking Pink Panther bit? This is a Mr. Bean gag. The first time I saw this panel, I was like, oh, this guy is a creep. I get it. But apparently this is just meant to represent lusting over a woman. To be fair, though, if the way you lust over a woman is leaning like 15 degrees out of what seems to be a millimeter thick brick wall, revealing one eye like you're a fucking Lovecraftian creature in the depths, maybe you should just go to hell. I just always thought the nice was so funny because like there's barely a distinction between the thoughts and his actual words, so I always just kind of imagine him shouting it. Also, I don't think it needs to be said, but the perspective on this panel is so broken beyond repair, it's fucking absurd. MC Escher illustrated this panel. Surrealist, optical illusion horseshit. The rest of the comic is just the typical, you know, after-death treatment, you know, it shows that he was bored in church and then he's cast into a pit of fire. I love the concept that after you die, God sets up like an IMAX theater in heaven so that you can watch his rendition of your life. Oh, God is a man, God is a woman, God is a film kit. And he's dragging you to the local art house cinema to show you his rough cut of his film that he's trying to send to USC. Okay, on to the next Chick Tract. This one resonates with me because it's about a jester with stupid shoes and a dumb fucking hat, and he dresses like I dress. So the plot is there's this king who loves his jester, and the king gives him a wand, and the king says, give the wand to someone who's a bigger fool than you. So the jester just goes out to the far reaches of the kingdom. They never name the place, so let's just call it Cleveland. Then the king becomes sick, and the jester comes to visit him, and the king is like, I'm going on a journey from which I will never return. I don't know why the king treats him like an 8-year-old whose hamster just died. Yeah, bud, they're gonna put me in a wagon and roll me up to a farm in northern Cleveland. If I look really pale and limp, it's because I'm struggling with an addiction to donating my blood. The hospital doesn't even want it anymore. They have too much of my blood, but I just can't stop giving them my blood. It feels so good. I'm getting off topic. The king is like, I'm going on this journey, implying death, and the jester is like, have you prepared for this journey? Which, like, what, am I supposed to have my hair done, asshole? And the king is like, no, naturally. So the jester is like, then I must present this golden wand to you. At last, the jester had found a greater fool than himself. Listen, I was about to take this jester to task for dunking on a man on his deathbed, but then I realized that I just spent like 3 minutes making jokes about a man who died 4 years ago. I remember seeing this panel my sophomore year of high school and losing my fucking mind at the jester just hosting the Comedy Central roast of the king seconds from his death. Also, the jester looks like Kenneth from 30 Rock. It's observational comedy. I wish we got to do this shit with like Gilded Age industry titans. The roast of a disgruntled elderly Andrew Carnegie, but with every insult, another one of his exploited workers gets a groin shot with a tire iron. All right, next tract. Alright, now, I don't think anyone needs an explanation as to why this pamphlet is fucking insane. Who in their right frame of mind puts these words on the cover of their proselytization tool and not as the title of their raunchy indie comedy? You know what? I think conservatives might have had a victim complex from the beginning of time, because this one starts off with a Chad professor who has a picture of a monkey eating a banana behind him with a text, Our Father, underneath it, asking if any kids in his class believe in evolution. So one kid disagrees with him, and he goes fucking Super Saiyan. Veins bulging out of his head. Oh my god, he is exploding with rage. Oh, so now the Aryan poster boy is gonna preach to us. The professor just continues to undergo his gradual transformation into the Hulk. He's just gonna rip out of that tweed jacket, and the rest of the debate team are gonna surround him like the Avengers. So this panel right here about Richard Leakey, I couldn't find any information about it. The oldest skull it looks like this guy discovered was 2.5 to 3 million years old, and he was an atheist and believed in evolution. In one of his speeches, he even tried to convince people of evolution who were averse to the subject. He said, if the E word, referring to evolution, still bothers you, let me say that there is plenty of evidence that humans have changed throughout time. Leakey says he has found no evidence to support religious claims of human origin. Dr. Chick, I'm annihilating you with facts and knowledge right now. You're kind of like a blue-haired feminist, and I'm like Ben Shapiro. Let me make it simple for you. You're kind of like a soy Wojak liberal arts student, and I'm Steven Crowder. Yeah. This kid just brings out his own printed chart. If he was bringing out his own charts to debate the teacher during class, I think the rest of the class could have thought about some constructive bullying. Then the kid is like, we can't date fossils or layers of rock, which is just wrong. I don't know how we fast travel to geology denialism. And then the kid owns him on the subject of atoms so hard that he quits. Yeah. Teacher resigned. So he shamefully carries his 6-foot-long framed image of a monkey eating a banana through the linoleum-floored halls of his prestigious middle school. This has to be like 6th grade. The kid who was arguing with him looked like he was about to rip out a Beyblade. Listen, is this one as funny as the cover implies? No. But does it imply that the teacher literally owns only one thing in his classroom, and it is a framed picture of a monkey going to town on the most mouth-watering banana you've ever seen? You're goddamn right it does. Alright, let's look at some of Chick Tract's greatest hits. The gay revolution is underway. Thank God, it took long enough. He's an in-crowd and a party animal. This is a man who wears a cardigan to a school play. He's got a sweater vest on. What do you mean party animal? This guy is spiking the punch with milk. This is a Warby Parker employee. All right, I just feel like I need to disclaim this now. We're about to talk about some serious stuff. Skip to this time if you're not in the mood to discuss any of these heavier elements. No judgment. It's heavy. It's heavy. Oh, this is so heavy I can barely carry it. That's so many heavy issues. I'm not strong enough. And they are not going to be called... Yeah. Listen, it's fun to make fun of the absurdity of these pamphlets, but this is sincerely some evil, bigoted shit. This is pseudo-intellectual hate speech using the Bible as ammunition, and it is freakish, unnerving, and upsetting. Make no mistake, if the people who wrote this comic met me, they would want me converted, and if they couldn't convert me, they'd want me different, and if they couldn't get me different, they would want me dead. These pamphlets don't just extend to, innocent proselytizing. They go full on into blatant homophobia, Islamophobia, misinformation, saying that Judaism will result in damnation. There is a chick tract called The Secret that involves a man going to prison for abusing his wife. Then a preacher shows up, shows him the word of God, and not only is he a changed man and fixed, but he returns to his wife and never hurts her again and is perfect forever. This is just a gross misrepresentation of how abuse and manipulation works. It won't disappear in a day, and if this does anything, it'll give false hope to people gaslit into thinking that their abusers care for them. There is another chick tract that is more fucked up by that one by infinite factors. I would not recommend you look it up for yourself, and I will not mention the contents of that chick tract because I think it is genuinely too heavy for a video like this. Jack Chick is preaching a toxic, fucked up, one-size-fits-all solution to rehabilitation through fear tactics, and it is positively fucking revolting. These pamphlets are obscenely reductive and simplified for a reason. They're appealing to lost souls and children and people who don't understand English, people who haven't been told how to fact check, and people who are prone to abuse and manipulation. They're not novels. They're picture books. These are scum of the earth, bottom of the barrel, stomach-churning pieces of hateful propaganda. I love telling jokes and making fun of bigots and taking them to task on their hypocrisy, but this shit isn't like Tom McDonald, okay? This doesn't annoy me. This makes me furious. This man was a beacon of hate. His work was not and is not a victimless crime. Now, I want to get back to making fun of him because I don't want this video to end on a sour note. You know, I think I can sum up this segment with the words of the author of jackchick.wordpress.com. Fuck you, Jack Chick. Just fuck you. My first reaction on that day in high school when I was handed a chick tract was not, oh, this is funny. It was an off-putting experience. Who would devote this time to handing pamphlets to teenagers? Why would someone do this? Of course, my second reaction was, this is funny, because chick tracts are absurd, but I've started thinking back on that day without the haze of nostalgia for the whimsy and absurdity of it. I've started thinking about why they were there, about the kids who were grappling with massive Catholic guilt indoctrinated into them from a young age, and who might have been one push away from being persuaded that they weren't doing enough. I think of the kids struggling with their mental health and drug addiction being handed a pamphlet that tells them that all will come to pass if they give their hearts and lives to Christ, unaware of the rabbit hole of hatred that would lead them through. And to clarify, I'm not bashing Christianity as a whole here, not even close. I'm bashing this. I think about why they were there. Why would an adult be around the most impressionable group of children in their neighborhood? So easily peer pressured, so lost, so awash in their place within the world, so scared. Eager to hand them a slip of paper to wash away their disillusion with the world. Eager to do to us what had been done to them. I wonder if they were always like this. If they always denied scientific consensus, or gay-bashed, or overbearingly imposed their beliefs onto others under the guise of sparing them. Or maybe if one day they were just another kid walking down the steps into school, watching all the other kids laugh and point at the pamphlet that said it could save them. And maybe they're too far gone and they'll never treat me like a person again. But I just feel bad. I feel horrible that they're constantly grappling with this intense, permeating fear of damnation that never leaves them. That they're constantly scared that other people are doomed to the same if they don't step in. That when they do what they think is right, they hurt so many other people. I feel awful and I feel sick. And the only thing that I know how to do is to go to the ones I love and to hug them and hold on tight. And say that as long as there's something you need, as long as there's something you believe in, as long as there's something weighing on you, I will listen. I will protect you. I know that there are hateful people out there and that hate multiplies, but I know they think that it is the right thing, and I don't know how to reconcile that in my soul. I don't hate these people. I don't hate their God. I don't deny their God's existence. My heart hurts for them. Did you guys know that Jack Chick made a fucking movie also? Okay. Deep breath. You'll be okay. I'll be okay. The world will be okay. I just talked about some stuff that scares me, but it felt right to talk about this stuff with a serious tone. These are serious issues, and I love making fun of stuff, but I refuse to avoid the seriousness of issues forever. Anyways, Jack Chick made a fucking movie. Well, it's not as much a movie as it is a PowerPoint presentation from a family friend's art gallery. I'll just give you guys the Sparks notes because this thing was over an hour long and the entire thing is narrated by a guy who sounds like he's about to say, "Coming soon to DVD and Blu-ray." So, according to this film, Adam is white and gave lions the name lions and all of their animals their names. So this is the freak that called them boobies. Yeah, I won't be forgetting about this, and neither will God. That was the real sin. For whatever reason, Lucifer looks like He-Man. This is a fit-to-print cover for 1980s D&D erotica. God gave them the 10 Commandments. They were the usual ones, you know. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not pirate Adobe projects, don't merge into the left lane if you're going to keep going the same speed. There will be an angel at the gates of heaven who will open a book and snitch to God if you're not in it. Wow, I'm so impressed, aren't you? God's best boy, God's best hall monitor. When they said teacher's pet, I thought at least Cerberus. You're just a dude. Why are they bouncing at the gates of heaven? And can I bring a fake? I'm trying to get a Cosmopolitan. Yikes. Why is heaven low-key gatekeeping? This is an 80-minute Prezi with B-list tarot card illustration. At their best, magic cards. At their worst, Digimon cards. They couldn't even add any diamond swipes or like funny transitions. I would have lost my shit if Lazarus died and then the cube transition like kicked in and he resurrected. The Bible has crazy lore. Is there a manga of this? And there's Jesus with the wooden table from the top line. WWE. JD. What wrestling entertainment Jesus do? Nah, it doesn't work. Okay, so apparently Jesus was tempted for 40 days in the desert by Satan. I imagine this means that Satan offered like Rule 34 of Mrs. Pac-Man and body pillows adorned by the most lusted after anime milfs. Yet Jesus withheld. They say something like Jesus was silent before Pontius Pilate, like a sheep before its shearer is mute. A sheep doesn't talk before it gets sheared because it's a fucking sheep. This picture of Pontius Pilate is funny. Side note, on like the fear-mongering aspect of this is by far the most brutal portrayal of Jesus' death I have ever seen. And I was raised Catholic. I have seen dozens. If Jesus is not your savior now, his sacrifice doesn't count. He has to buzzer shot you into the pits of hell from half court. Talk about a Hail Mary. According to the documentary, also, Buddha is bad, pagans are bad, Catholics are pagan, Islam is Satan's masterpiece, the devil has furnished mankind. I did not know that the devil was an interior designer. We are not your IKEA playground, Lucifer. And finally, to decompress, here are my favorite Chick Tract titles. The Gay Blade, The Death Cookie, Baby Talk, Gladys, The Little Bride, The Little Ghost, The Little Princess, The Little Sneak, The Loser, Satan Comes to Salem. It's like a Weekend at Bernie's type title. Sin Busters, The Sissy, Snowflake, Somebody Goofed, That's Baphomet. Remember when I said This Is Your Life was their Titanic? That's my bad. Titanic is actually their Titanic. Who's the real hater? And finally, who cares? Well, you know what? I care. About you, about me, and about today's sponsor, Halliburton and Sperry Drilling. Fuck the earth. Plunge a 6-ton drill bit into its crust so that you can extract dinosaur juice that lets you drive your Nissan Altima to your fucking... I'm fucking tired. I'm kidding. I don't have a sponsor. I'm also unemployable, so I'm hoping this content thing works out. Okay, I think I've said everything I need to say about Chick Tracts, and this video's already gotten heavy, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up. Don't forget to engage critically with the horrendous reality that we face every single day. Take care of yourselves and others. Be kind to yourselves and others, and remember that you are loved. As always, it has been a pleasure. Bye.